Welcome to the Cynthia Nyamai show. Now, they say life is an interesting business, and it's even more interesting when we live a life for others. Our guest today, and I have to say I'm excited, we have an international interview. He's well known all over the world and Africa as a leader and a man of the cloth. He left the military for ministry, and he's given his life to others, especially in the rural areas, with great humility. That story coming up shortly. Thank you so much, Archbishop Kwashi, for joining us today. And karibu to Kenya.
Asante.
Oh, so you know a few Swahili words.
Indeed.
Is Kenya, do we have a lot of similarities, Kenya and Nigeria?
Yes, plenty.
Yes.
A lot of it. Particularly from where I come from,
Yes.
Jos Plateau.
Yes.
The weather is like in Nairobi.
Yes.
And sometimes like in Limuru as well.
Yes.
It gets that cold.
Yes.
And there are other places of the highlands of Obudu.
Yes.
And as well as in Taraba State, the highlands
Yeah,
there can be pretty cold and
Yes.
green and beautiful.
Yes, but it's very beautiful. Jos is very beautiful. So tell me a little bit about you growing up. Were you born in Jos? Did you grow up there?
I did.
Yes.
I did. I was born in a village about an hour and a half away from Jos.
Yes.
And I grew up in Jos as a little boy. I went from Jos to military school in Zaria.
Yes.
And then my life went on and on to the south of Lagos.
Yes.
Before I came back.
And then when did you decide that you want to get into ministry?
I think the decision was more than me.
Yes.
I was a trained soldier, military school. I had an ambition to continue in the army,
Yes.
whatever God will have for me.
Yeah.
I had a big ambition of being a general.
Yeah. Wow.
But in between my graduation and the time of going for academy officers training,
Yes.
I met the Lord. A gentleman introduced me to a track.
Yes.
Mark, I come from a Christian background. My mother was a pastor's child.
Yes.
My father was a church missionary teacher, headmaster, way back 1936. So he's a very educated person.
Yes.
And I have always known prayer book, church and stuff.
Yeah.
So knowing the Lord Jesus Christ was not a thing I thought somebody would teach me
Yes.
until I met this gentleman.
Wow.
This was in 75, 76.
Yeah.
And then that encounter changed my life. And the ambition of accomplishing a life as an army officer or something just disappeared. And I began to admire our pastor and his commitment. He was an old man, but his contentment was what I was looking for.
Yes.
That I saw. That attracted me to him.
Yes.
But not that I will be a minister. I started participating in church, youth and all of that.
Yeah.
And everybody else in the church, including my pastor, began to say, you will be a pastor, you will be a pastor.
Wow.
It took 2 years before
Yes.
that happened.
Before you became a general for the Lord.
Well, there you are.
So, but how was that transition, from the army where a lot of times people have an idea that, people in the army are so hard, militarized and so on, into now ministry. How was the transition? And even how did people take it? Were there people wondering how can you have such a career change in your life?
My classmates didn't believe it.
Yeah.
My mates, my juniors, and some of my seniors didn't believe it. It was just unthinkable.
Yes.
My commandant, even he didn't, he had to send for me when I finally became a bishop. And we sat down with me and he asked me, he said, Ben, what happened? Because everybody knew I was this kind of soldier man that I am.
Yes.
My mother also didn't even, my mother's case was even the worst. But my life had to speak.
Yeah.
I became soft-spoken, gentle, but still the energy was there. I wanted hard work and all of that.
Yeah.
And my bishop was so kind. He tested me out, sent me out to the village.
Yes.
And And God walked through me in the village. I was able to start new churches, help the poor, dig wells, build brick buildings by myself, with my hands, with the people.
Yes.
So he sent me for training, and during the training again, the energy was there. I was this college driver for theological college. I was cutting the grasses, I was mowing the grass, I was digging the flower. I was always busy. I was playing basketball, football. So my life was very busy.
Yes.
So I got ordained, and then people began to trust the fact that the energy that was in the army is now transferred. Whereas clergymen were upper class people who waited for things to be done.
Yes.
I don't have that luxury.
Yes.
So up to when I became a bishop, I built my house.
Yes.
I've always been in the business of getting into the bush, doing stuff by myself. So I think the army trained me for this kind of service. And the other side of the hardness, only my children will tell.
and during this time when you were working out, and you're probably being tested if you're ready for getting into ministry, was there one thing that particularly happened and you knew, yes, this is my calling, this is where I actually should be serving?
Yes.
Yeah.
One, I found out that whenever I'm in the rural areas, I am so happy. I'm at peace.
Yes.
No electricity, water was difficult, but that is what gave me confirmation of my call. And so for most of my ministry, I'm a rural pastor.
Yeah.
Even as a bishop, my joy is when I drive my car and go out to the bush and I teach people how to keep tidy their water, their toilets, and dig places. And I show them what to do, and we can do stuff together, farming. And I found that being a rural pastor is the wealthiest ever I have ever been.
Wow.
I remember Zonkwa with my wife, and I'm married to some crazy girl called Gloria.
Yes.
She's more mad than I am, by the way. We had goats, we had sheep, we had cows, we had guinea pigs, we had rabbits. We were so wealthy. Well, we didn't have electricity and all of that, but we were okay. Our children could eat. If you kill a rabbit today, it finishes today. So no. I got that confirmation in my real work.
Yes, it's interesting how you describe wealth, because pastors these days are known to be very flamboyant, especially in Nigeria. Some of the pastors that we know around the world who own private jets are in Nigeria. But you've decided you're completely different from most pastors that I know in Nigeria, very humble. Why did you decide to take that route and serve in a different way as a pastor?
So there's not a time I have ever felt any less because people had money. No. No, my contentment is with my animals. If you come to my house today, it's like a zoo. My horses, my goats, my sheep, my ducks, my geese, my ostriches, my pigs. That's an amazing, that's my chickens, goats, and name it, they're all there. Pigeons, birds. I hate it when people kill my birds. So I have trees, and early in the morning I take their photographs, and that's my joy. And then that's how my children grow up. To learn to look after all the houses we've lived in. My children and I, we have labored to build together with the builders. We carry the cement blocks, we do stuff. That's my joy. It's not about how much money and all of that. I think it's people who didn't grow up with money that think money solves problems. It doesn't.
But why is there a need, especially in the church, to show a lot of flamboyance? And even when I knew, I've read a little bit and I know you a bit, but if it was probably any other pastor coming from Nigeria, they'd probably come in with bodyguards and would have an entourage and everything. Why is there that need in the church right now to show off material things and flamboyance?
It's not a need. I think it's a created need, but it's not a need. I still drive myself. I've been driving myself anywhere, travel to anywhere, and I've never felt insecure. Several attempts on my life have been made, but it still has changed nothing of me. When the time comes for me to die, I'll die whichever way it comes. So I don't think it's a need. But the flamboyance you are describing, I think there's a need to make people feel important. And it's a choice. Fortunately, I don't think I need that.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable as I am, and I'm grateful to God for who I am. Number one, I'm not tall. Number two, I'm not handsome. Number three, I just don't have what it takes for the importance of life. And I'm very happy the way I am. And by the way, I never honestly ever thought that I will even be a bishop in the Anglican Church, because I'm always a rural pastor. That's who I am.
Yes.
When I was made a principal of a theological college, it was the first time I would be.
Yes.
I closed down the school for 4 weeks. Me and my students, we built our classrooms, we built hostels, we built the vice principal's house. They're still standing today.
Yes.
So I don't think that I deserve any of those, perquisites. No.
Yeah. You've earlier described your home a little bit, and I've seen your home. I haven't visited, but through YouTube, I watched a service that you were having with your children.
Yes.
And there were about more than, I think there were probably around 40. I counted your children, around 40 children.
Yes.
We'll take a short break, but after the break, I want to ask you, how did you end up with 40, and I hear sometimes 70 children, and how does that household look like? That and more coming up shortly. Welcome back to the Cynthia Nyamai show. We're talking to Archbishop Ben Kwashi, who's been telling us about how he grew up in Nigeria and eventually becoming from military to the pulpit, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
And we're just before the break talking about, I brought up about your home, where I watched a service of 40 children, and sometimes there are even 70 children. What made you decide to adopt and take up that many children?
It was not my decision. I'm married.
Does it have something to do with Gloria?
It has. It has. I mean, she's.
You said it.
You know, the thing is that I've stopped believing that, when you marry these young girls, African girls, especially African girls, they're very shy. And when you scream a little, they cry, those early stages. And every time they go and bring you water, they kneel down, they give you this. I don't believe that anymore. I have been deceived. Because I thought this girl was, I told my friends, honestly, I went to my best man, I said, boy, Sam, I'm married to an angel. He said, really? I said, how? I said, she doesn't even look at me. Anything I say, she says yes. And if I said no, she would just tears. And I said, why is she crying? I don't know. Now I'm the one crying. Because as soon as we got our first child, she started bringing cousins, younger brothers. And I don't mind it. It's 2, 3, 5, at most 7 in the house, sometimes 11. And then we became 21. Then they all graduated. Then our children grew up. Then now I went somewhere, I've forgotten. I came back and I saw about 16 or 18 children in the house. And I said, oh, wow, who are they visiting? She said, no, they're our children. I said, our what? She said, our children. And she said, 8 of them are HIV. I said, no way. At that time, our last son, who's 22 now, was 6 years old. I said, you cannot kill us and kill my son. It's not, she wasn't listening. The girl I told you about is a totally different person now. She just said, Ben, give me money. I want blankets, I want sweaters, I want this. So I made the mistake, I gave her money. So the whole living room, when we come for prayer, little children, we on the bed, the place is smelling. I said, no, okay, let's build a place, an extension. That was a bigger mistake. Once I built that, I traveled, came back, they were now 32.
More children.
Then we became 55, then 64, and now 72. And she's adopted them as our children. But the story didn't end there. So now she extended it and started, they need school. So she started school. So vulnerable children who have nowhere to go. And some of them even no parents. Some of them half orphans. Some of them full orphans. She packed them. Now there are about 500 children that feed. She feeds every blessed day, including Sundays. She cares for. We have a clinic. She runs it for them. And she schools them. We have a first set of about 10 who will be finishing university next year. another set are
Yes.
going into several colleges and polytechnics
Yeah.
this coming year. No, this particular year.
Yeah.
So they are growing and increasing.
Yes.
I had to put an embargo because if I didn't, she will mess up the bishop's house. And she has helped me.
Yes.
Because I grew up in a background of selfish,
Yes.
self-centered,
Yeah.
fairly affluent
Yes.
background.
Yeah.
People of influence.
Yeah.
And she's taught me to be selfless.
Yeah.
And you even asked, how did that come from my military background,
Yes.
and that I will now go back to the rural areas. And she helped me to look at Jesus' life.
Yeah.
The simplicity of Jesus.
Yes.
The humility of
Yes,
Jesus.
yes.
And the integrity
Yes.
of Jesus and his ministry.
Yeah.
Doesn't need all flamboyance.
That's
Doesn't
true.
need too much.
Yes.
A little banana food, we are okay.
Yes.
A little corn maize, and we are fine.
Yeah.
We don't have to eat meats. We don't have to eat all those things.
Yes.
And now we are growing and we are living.
Yeah.
So that simplicity, that humility of Gloria,
Yes.
and the integrity has helped me
Yeah.
and the mission that I'm going into. And whenever we go into the village, she knows what to do.
Yes.
I didn't know how to kill bed bugs. When
Yeah.
I see them, I run away. She's a village girl. She
Yeah.
said, come on, just come.
Yeah.
And she helps me. So
Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
We've seen a number of men, and I'll call them fathers, fathers in the area of entrepreneurship and even in ministry. We had like T.D. Joshua and many other men of the cloth pass away since last year, this year, and that it feels like our fathers are going, they're leaving us. What does this mean for the generation coming after, our generation? What role should we be playing right now? And even for our fathers, what role should they be playing at this time?
In 2000, President Obasanjo made me chairman of the Advisory Council for Youth.
Yes.
So it was an A-grade advisory council. Not paid, not politics, but I was just an advisory council. And I went around all the universities, primary schools, secondary schools, tertiary institutions. And we found out that in the youth service scheme, there was 120,000 young people graduates in the youth service scheme that year. So I was interested in how many of them went to primary school the same year, and why are there only 120,000? We found out in the year 2000 that 8 million kids went to the same primary school, but only 120,000 have graduate certificates.
Yeah.
We went right back to nursing, diplomas, polytechnics, and we found out another 300,000 graduated. So all in all, we're able to account for 300,000 of an age range at that time
Yes.
between 24 and 26 and 28 that left primary school.
Yeah.
Only 300 have certificate that are employable
Yes.
and that can be employed. In other words, 7.3 million same age people are unemployable, will never be employed
Yes.
in Nigeria, year 2000. I went back to the church. I said, we're in trouble because at that time,
Yeah.
65% of Africa was under 35.
Yes.
Now it is 70.
Yeah.
Which means if those who have do not share with those who do not have,
Yes.
those who do not have are going to overrun Africa very soon.
Yes.
We see it in South Africa.
Yes.
Just for no reason, they got up one day
Yeah.
and are looting every
Yeah.
shop.
Yes.
So the church is in trouble. I mentioned it to the church in Nigeria. I'm not sure people heard me.
Yeah.
But from that time on, I do not recruit people into the mission field who are over 30 years of age.
Yes.
The reason is I want to pass down to the next generation. But you see, the church is not interested in doing that, or the community is not interested, because those age range, they have nothing to contribute.
Yes.
They don't have money, they don't have anything,
Yeah.
so they only use them as thugs and as, errand boys and house kids
Yes.
and clean your plates and so on. But now, as drivers, they're now raping the children of the
Yes.
house. They're taking away children, they're sacrificing them.
Yes.
They're doing all kinds, because the older generation, we don't have a kind heart
Yes.
to share with the coming generation. That's only one of the problems. Secondly, my generation, we saw Nigeria where children of the poor went to school for free. Now there's so much money. We're not thinking of children of the poor.
Yes.
Rather, we're sending killers to kill the poor. And the children are running, and some of them are not captured within areas where we can love them and care for them, and they're running away with anger.
Yes.
They're going to come back 20 years later.
That's true.
They're going to be very strong. It happened around the world. You kill people now, their children run away.
Yeah.
They'll come back. And they'll come back with an unforgiving spirit. And United Nations can speak all the language they want. These guys are going to massacre generations.
Yeah.
So it's better now, for the church especially, to begin to look at the younger generation and pass on to them the gospel we received, the fervent gospel, the word of God. No matter how people have rejected the word of God around the world, I tell you the truth, in the last 45 years, only the Bible has helped me to navigate all the problems of the world and to help people who listen to me, who care, to navigate through their problems as well. And I'm telling you, it has worked.
Yes, yes. We've seen attempts on your life a number of times. Does that become a bit discouraging, and do you feel like, maybe I should do less and talk less?
No.
Yes.
No. I don't talk just because I want to talk.
Yes.
I talk out of a conviction and passion. And at that point, I'm helpless. I just have to talk and lead the people, regardless of who's involved.
Yeah.
It's not my choice, really. It's God who chose me. So I'm always under that that canopy.
Yes.
So I'm careful.
Yeah.
And many times people have said, you've not spoken, why should I, if the Lord has not asked me?
Yeah.
But when the Lord asks me to speak, oh, sure, I will. So the attempts on my life are immaterial.
Yes.
And nothing's going to happen unless God allows it.
Yeah. And do you think that there is hope for Africa? Your job allows you to travel a lot around Africa. Is there hope?
There is hope. Let me tell you this, Cynthia. There was a man called Ajay Crowther. He was a slave. He was captured and released in 1824, baptized in 1825, became a fantastic teacher.
Yes.
And his heart was to come to Nigeria. God opened doors for him in 1841. He came back home 1842 and began his ministry as an evangelist. 1843, he was ordained as a priest. Now, mark you, there was no customs, no immigrations, no Nigeria, no government. This man established schools in Lagos, in Bonny, in Lokoja, he was heading up north.
Yes.
Before he died in 1891. One man, he brought cassava, he brought plantain, he brought commerce, he brought rice, he brought white traders to Africa, to Nigeria. Single man, a Nigerian. One man did that.
Yeah.
Queen Victoria allowed him to become the first African Anglican bishop, 1864. And he did more.
Yeah.
One man. There is hope. I don't know who that man is in Kenya or South Africa or Uganda or any nation, but God takes one man. And because there's God, I have hope.
Thank you so much, Archbishop, for joining us today. It's a great pleasure. I wish we had more time and talked to him, but I'm so glad that he left the military. From the military to the pulpit, and we can see the impact that he has had around the world. Sometimes we make decisions that might not be very popular, but they will later make a great impact. See you next week.